In the global hunger index, India, which was always low at 94, has since fallen to 107 out of 121 nations. In all the discussions that are going on climate change, in all the intergovernmental conferences, discussions, negotiations, how many women are represented in those conferences? Mary Robinson says this for you girls. Climate change is a man-made problem and so must have a feminist solution. We are the first to sign any new convention. We are the last to ever implement it. Connect with society. Connect with the marginalized. Connect with the affected. Educate yourself. Then spreading the awareness. One conversation with one of these people, you will feel like you sat through a whole course in a college.
Sir, regarding the nomads in Kashmir area, sir told that they are taking the yaks to higher levels for their survival. So, if going to too much cold areas, how human beings can survive? But if maybe yaks may survive in that cold climate, but how human beings will survive? What are their solutions for this?
That is precisely the question they are also confronted with, but they have no option but to take the risk. They have maybe 5-10 years from now, we will know the results of it. But they have no option but to take the risk. Like many people in different labor professions, do things that are absolutely dangerous for them, right? But now, if you go to can we get to the very first slides of that? You'll see in Jharkhand, in Godda, women, there is a lot of open cast coal mining. The top 15-20 meters of topsoil is taken and thrown away for the coal below. Now that creates mountains of waste topsoil. In that topsoil, there is 3% to 4% in that topsoil. See that right-hand top picture? Those are women who go and pluck that 3% coal. It's a national energy saving and it is criminalized by law. So, for helping your country save energy, you can go to jail. Now, you know why they're all walking away now? Because the skies are about to burst. It's the monsoon. Sometimes these mountains of waste are so high, the dumper truck comes and dumps 120 tons of waste soil. The women, highly marginalized, highly poor, you can read about this in my book, Good Drought, they race towards that thing. Some of them get buried alive. 120 tons of soil falling from a great height, cliff height. Now they are running out of the thing because once the monsoon strikes again, the paths are washed out and they can be drawn in like quicksand. They can be trapped in quicksand. That also in the slurry, in the sludge. Yeah. So people take risks not because it's fun or because it's racing on your motorcycle at night on the main road. They take the risk because they have to. They have to feed their children. They have to feed their families. So they take the Bakarwals, the Changpas, the Changpas of Western Himalayas, the Brokpas of Eastern Himalayas. They take those risks. Yeah.
Sir, you pointed on the subject of unpaid labor that is being subjected on women and adolescent children. Sir, I feel that our country is...
Women and adolescent girls.
Adolescent girls, sorry. So you say, I feel that our country is more giving emphasis on the GDP. That is like to get target of 5 billion, but we are not focusing on GDP per capita. So in 2023, it says that our country has $2,216 US, that in terms of per capita in India. So if unpaid labor, if it is properly distributed among women and adolescent children, of course our GDP per capita will increase, right, sir?
If it is not unpaid labor distributed, paid for. If it is paid for, then it will be incorporated in your GDP. Or GDP is nothing, it's not a miracle. It is just an aggregation of all economic activity. Now, when you are not paid, when that service is unpaid, it is not counted as productive economic activity. Don't blame me, it's the economists. It's not my fault. Okay, I have been campaigning against it for 25-30 years. The fact is that the work women do at home, in the fields, the incredible amount, just imagine a figure of $10.8 trillion. And I will also tell you this, that's a global figure, but I am willing to bet that the biggest share is India, where there is more of a mama's boy syndrome than anywhere in the planet. So you need to change the principles. Thank you. You need to change the economic principle. You are very right that GDP calculation itself is a fake. The way this, as I said, cow dung is not listed on the stock exchange, but bullshit is. You know, people's shares that are worthless are trading at 1,700 rupees. So we need to change how we understand economics, how we understand, and per capita income, another ridiculously limited measure. Now, how many people are there in this auditorium? 400. Okay, now there are 400 people in this auditorium and I'm one person. Okay, now suppose each of them is earning 10 rupees a day, and or the NREGS wage of 230 rupees a day, all of them, and I earn 5 million rupees a day. I wish, but okay. Now the per capita income of this hall, it will neither tell you their reality nor mine. Whose reality will tell you? My 1 million rupees plus your 200 into 400 rupees. How much is that? 80,000? Huh? 80,000. So 80,000 and 1 million rupees, make it 100,000. So 1 million and 1 lakh rupees, you divide by 401, you get an absurd figure which doesn't tell the reality of anybody. So per capita income, GDP, all these things have to be questioned. GDP itself, the person who brought in the concept never intended that it should be used this way that it is used today. He just saw it as an aggregation of all economic services. We need to see what are those economic services that are left out. They are always connected to women. Yeah. Any other question? Yes?
A pleasant morning to all. I am Dr. Kanis Fatima from Justice Bashir Ahmed Said College for Women. I first of all would like to congratulate MOP Vaishnav College for having conducted such a wonderful event, which is the need of the hour, and especially when it is about women and climate change. And as you rightly said, global warming is the right term. When you hear the word global warming, I think it warns us of something, right? And as you rightly said, we as women are being targeted for so many things. And what is the solution that we are going to give to this world to bring a change in this is the voice that we all have to raise. And we all know the statement, think globally, but you have to act locally. And I think if each and every woman, tries to bring this small change that she wishes to see in the world, I think this global warming issue will not become an issue at all. And all of us would be happy to say that we have really done something for this environment. So I take this forum as a means to request all the young minds here that if each and every one of us try to bring this change, then we don't have to conduct so many meetings and forums to say that we need to bring up climate change. And your facts that you revealed, sir, were really mind-boggling. It made us all think that so much is happening to the women, And as women, we are just silent listeners. We really have to do something towards it. So all my best wishes to this forum and looking forward for a greater change to happen. Thank you.
I will just make a small comment on that. That in all the discussions that are going on climate change, in all the intergovernmental conferences, discussions, negotiations, how many women are represented in those conferences? Okay, here is the United Nations telling you that in national and global climate negotiating bodies, female representation is less than 30%. Okay, and you are certainly not having the kind of people Pari has. Women farmers, women fisher folk. Yeah, and here you have a very beautiful saying by Mary Robinson, who was President of Ireland and also the Chief of the UN Human Rights Commission. Mary Robinson says this for you girls: climate change is a man-made problem and so must have a feminist solution. Yeah. So that is what that is what I would like to add to your comment. Anyone else?
Hi.
Yes, sir.
No, actually, it's a linguistic, ironical thing. For example, you use both the words. For example, you say cow dung. Then you use, after 1 minute, you said bullshit. See, both are same. But bullshit is used very negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it very ironical and just an observation. But what I'm asking is, they used cow dung as fuel. Have the common people or the tribal people who are the scientists, didn't they use any other animal shit to create fuel?
Scale. It's the scale on which something happens. By the way, even if you take it literally, which I was being facetious, but even if we take it literally, the number of cows to bull is extraordinarily weighted against bulls. Okay, so cows produce a lot more dung than the male of the species. This is one. Their numbers are incredibly more. Okay, then the second, but I'm saying that I was being facetious. Second, they use the dung of other animals. They do, but nothing on the scale that cows produce. For instance, in Kerala, and I'm sorry, even in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, on the border there is that tribe called Jainakuruba in the Bandipur forest, etc. Traditionally, there have been nomadic pastoralists, and there was a very beautiful balance between the village. There was a very beautiful balance between the village and the nomads. So, as nomads, the pastoralists, whether in Maharashtra, the Raikars coming from Gujarat and Rajasthan, or the Fakirani Jats coming from Kutch, what they do, they come to your village with huge herds of camels, of basically goats and sheep. And the village makes a trade. What is the trade the village makes? The village gives them services in food, milk, etc. All that the nomadic pastoralists do, pre-cultivation period, pre-cultivation season, they park thousands of goats and sheep and hundreds of camels on your soil, and the dung from that is your fertilizer. Okay?
That's in Karnataka.
It happens in many states in the country. No, the Jain, I was giving one example, sir.
Camels can.
Not camels are not in Karnataka. I said camels from Kutch and Rajasthan. The Jainakurubas are sheep herders and other herders, goats. They don't have camels. And their that in return the village gives them some services. Now this is breaking down very fast. It's breaking down very fast because we are using a lot of chemical fertilizers and the animals are suffering. So that is also happening. Yeah. But I'm trying to tell you that theoretically or literally or humorously, cow dung is a very major force. Yeah.
So good morning. So India is being a signatory party to this UNFCCC, like a United Nations Framework on Convention on Climate Change, and it gives a very big, impacts on the women, the climate change and the impacts on the women. What are the steps taken by the Indian government for all these kind of things? So
I think you should ask the Indian government. See, in terms of being a signatory to the accord, we are the first to sign any new convention. We are the last to ever implement it. Child protection, child labor, we have signed every convention. Displacement, 93 UN convention. How many millions of people have been displaced in this country since you signed that agreement? Okay, so I don't even feel competent to tell you about it. The step, in principle, what we say at the international conferences, sometimes it's very good, it's excellent. And then we come back and remove the need for environmental impact assessments for companies wanting to take 80,000 acres of forest in Chhattisgarh and Odisha and destroy them completely. We simply are doing exactly the opposite of what we said in the conference. Yeah.
Good morning, sir. I'm Ovyam Prakash and I'm a third year journalism student. So recently there's been a lot of backlash against climate activists who are interrupting entertainment performances like operas or just concerts and to make the stance known about climate action and global warming. But it's getting a lot of backlash. People are not happy with it. Do you think this extreme? I am somebody who speaks for extremism because I think being a moderate keeps everyone happy, but it doesn't really get anything done. So do you think this is a good approach towards making more climate crisis known, like the awareness about climate crisis known globally? Or
I can only tell you what we do. What we do is what I showed you, that we look at the crisis through the voices and lived experience of the affected people, of ordinary marginalized people. That woman can tell us more about the nature of fishing in Ramanathapuram district and what changes it has undergone than any expert committee of the government of India can. So you need to start looking at not moderate or extreme, but who is the authentic source? As a journalist, that's what you've got to look at. Who is the authentic source for this? And that's what I would suggest you do.
Hi sir, good morning.
Morning.
So what I have to ask is, so what we as students can do in this helpless situation, in this state of capitalism that we are forced to be in, are there any other ways open for us?
I basically would diverge from your position on the idea of students' helplessness. Across the world, some of the leading climate challengers are in their teens, whether it's a Greta Thunberg or someone else. Many leading climate activists are younger than you are. Okay, it's about how to spread the awareness and consciousness. For that, the first requirement is that we educate ourselves. We educate ourselves by acting in concert with the people who are experiencing it much harder than you and I are. That is what I'm saying. Point one, connect with society, connect with the marginalized, connect with the affected. Educate yourself. Then you are at the same time spreading the awareness. One conversation with one of these people, you will feel like you sat through a whole course in a college. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was really inspiring. It was really motivating. My question is about the population aspect of the country. So we are we are increasing in number and we're number one now. So what your comment on that? What do you say about that?
Firstly, I think that is an entirely bogus problem. I'll tell you why. You are increasing in numbers, true. Do you know that your population rate is actually dropping very sharply? Do you know that there is a concept called FRL? You heard of it? Fertility replacement level. Fertility replacement level, which is considered to be the fertility replacement level, is the number of babies being born which will keep the population steady. Okay? 21 Indian states, 22 Indian states are now below the fertility replacement level, including Tamil Nadu. Okay? It means that, you know, that China made this mistake. They coercively cut that population by saying one child, no more, one child, no more. Today, the Chinese government is offering huge cash incentives to families to have more children because they did away with a generation of young labor. Right? Now, look at Japan. Its fertility replacement level, don't even ask how low it is. Japan is a nation of senior citizens. Who will produce? Who will bring the labor? In India, the southern states, especially Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, AP, Karnataka in that order, their fertility replacement level fell below the stability point of 2.1 or 2.2 10 years ago. Okay? You are not increasing it. You are not looking at the world and your future generation 20 years from now. When all you guys in 30 years are, 30, 40 years are senior citizens, you will be, and without health care, without young people to look after you, I think you need to reflect on what that future is. The population, do you know that your population, your food production even currently is ample to feed the existing population. So it's about the distribution of food. It's about the distribution of resources. You have so much, you're having record surpluses in your food production, and you're having the largest number of hungry people in the world. In the global hunger index, India, which was always low at 94, has since fallen to 107 out of 121 nations. Do you know that Rwanda, which was rocked by 20 years of civil war, is ranked higher than you are? Do you know that Bangladesh is ranked higher than you are? Bangladesh per capita GDP is increasing at a faster rate. They are looking after health, they are understanding. Also, don't forget that a few years ago, when we were all celebrating new economic policies, we were all boasting. India has the youngest population in the world, remember? Yeah? 20 years you'll have the oldest. 30 years, sorry, okay. Any other questions? Yes?
So you are highlighting the knowledge of women in various professions like agriculture, fishing, pastoralists. So what I wonder is that having a degree, whatever it may be, immediately establishes expertise, but to establish the expertise of these women in their professions, it is very tough. It is not automatically recognized. So I was just having this thoughts for some time that they should be given a degree of some sort to make it comparable with others, immediately recognizable.
That is a very astute observation. That's a very astute observation. It speaks to not just women, but generally our contempt for the knowledge of ordinary people. You know, we think that the experts know everything. There's a very beautiful book by Terry Easterbrook. It's called The Tyranny of Experts. Yeah, who come and give you incredible solutions that cause damage that plagues you for 20 years. Because they don't know, they know all the numbers, but they don't know what they're talking about. They've never tilled a field. They've never herded a cow. I'll give you one example, guys, again, against my favorite bugbear, economists. So there was this top city, it's obviously a fun story, but there was this top city economist from a big think tank in the city, driving down the highway to meet his friends in the weekend for a weekend party, and everybody had to take some food to the party. So he was wondering, what will I do? And on the lonely stretch of the highway, he saw a shepherd. All that was there in that landscape was a shepherd, the shepherd's dog, which all shepherds have a dog, and hundreds of sheep. Yeah, thank you. And hundreds of sheep. So he thought, okay, here is this illiterate bumpkin. I'm going to get my present for the party. So he got down and went up to the shepherd standing with his dog, and said, I'll bet you $100 against one of your sheep. I'll bet you $100 that I can tell you the exact number of your flock. The shepherd thought for a moment and said, that's impossible. There are some sheep behind the rock. There are some sheep in the forest. There are some sheep at the edge of the woods. How will this guy tell me the correct number? So the shepherd said, okay, $100 or a sheep. And the economist said, you have 973 sheep in your flock. And he was right. The shepherd was stunned that how could he know? How could that guy get the correct number? Now the shepherd could have lied and said you were wrong, but he was an honest man. So he said, okay, damn it. Take the sheep and go. So the economist from the top think tank in the city, he grabbed one of the animals and started running towards his SUV to go to the party. And the shepherd called after him, hey, it's conventional that in a bet, you give me a double or nothing. You know, either if I win, so then this guy said, okay, what will you bet? Because he was full of contempt for this man. The guy said, shepherd said, double or nothing, I can tell you your exact occupation and profession. Where you? So this chap said, what would this illiterate idiot know about me? So he said, okay. He was still clutching his prize, desperate to get into the jeep and go, SUV and go. So he said, you're an whiskeyed economist at a big think tank in the city. It was the economist's turn to be stunned, still clutching the prize he had lost. He said, how the hell did you know that? The shepherd said, put my dog down and I'll tell you. He knew all the numbers. So that's the problem of not recognizing the knowledge of others. Yeah. Anyone else? Or?
Sorry.
Yeah.